forgot to turn it back on. Alright, so to assemble them, I need 2 pair of flat nose pliers, which we have in the cabinet. You can use them here in class and in lab. And I'm going to open the jump ring so I can put another jump ring through it. And when I open the jump rings, I want to do it this way. I don't want to pull it open this way because I'll misshape it. So this way, just a little bit. Put the next one through. And then close it the same way with that little kind of shimmy. And you want to check and make sure it's closed all the way. And it might look closed from the side, but you also want to check it from the top. Yeah, see, it's off from the top. Sometimes it looks good from the side, and then the top is not good. That's not a good jump ring. It's out of shape. Okay, open this one. This one is too. Put the jump ring through, close this up. If I was really making a chain, I would never use these jump rings that I just cut. They're terrible.
Is that bronze that you're working with?
This is brass wire.
Brass.
That one's closed, this one's not.
And would you solder it as you go? Every other one if you were decided to do
I could solder the whole thing. I can go one right after the other if I assemble the whole chain at one time. These are honestly like the worst jump rings I've ever done. This was a good one. Maybe make it work. If your jump rings are not good, just toss them aside. So when you do buy wire to make your chains, make sure you buy a little extra. Just in case.
Say I wanted to make like ½ ounce or like 3/4 of an ounce
Mm-hmm.
of chain. How much should I buy?
I think what you have to do, look in the catalog. The catalog will tell you how many feet per ounce you'll get. This one's not good. Like if you buy an ounce, it'll tell you how many feet are in an ounce. And how to calculate how many feet you'll need, I don't have a formula for that. Ugh, that one's just as bad. Okay, I think I'm out of good jump rings. All right, after I solder these closed, then I'll tell you, you can actually change the shape of your jump rings. You can oval them. I don't think I have any unsoldered ones in here. No, they're all soldered. Okay. I'll have to make do with these. Let's go over to the soldering table. What I will need is a third hand and a pair of locking tweezers, which I see a third hand with locking tweezers that are not in good shape. I want a pair of tweezers that are in relatively good shape. Which I have a pair in my, let's see these. They're not bad. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some new ones in my toolbox. All right, so this method that I'm gonna show you takes some practice. But it's the best method I've ever seen for soldering jump rings closed. All right, so my chain is going to go into the locking tweezers. And I want the seam of the solder joint to be as far away from the tweezers as possible, because the tweezers will act as a heat sink. Okay, so my seam is up here, away from the tweezers. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is look for some pieces of solder that are the appropriate size for soldering these rings closed. The thicker your wire, the larger the piece will need to be. And I'm just going to take a bunch of them out and put them on my solder pad. Okay, it's enough. Let me check the condition of my flux. See what this looks like. It's a little thick. Right there, it's a little too thick, but I'm going to put it right around the whole joint. Just a little bit, don't need a lot. Now, the next step is to take a piece of solder and move it away from your little pile of solder here. And I'm going to heat that until it turns into a little red ball. The minute it turns into a little red ball, this is all in the timing. The minute it turns into a little red ball, I'll take my torch away, go in and touch it with my solder pick, and it should stick to the end of my solder pick. Number one, thank you. A cold solder pick will pick up hot solder. So if you think about it, if you look at that jump ring, you might think, oh, I'll take my tweezers and a piece of solder and I'll put the solder on top of that seam. But good luck making it stay there. That won't happen. So watch this, if I do it right. Really fast. I don't want to heat my solder pick. There it is. It's on right on the end of my solder pick. I don't know if you can see that in the video. Probably not.
Oh, here.
But it's there. You want to touch that?
Oh, no, I'm saying like put it in front of my hand so that I can like focus a little bit.
I can't. Can't get it there. All
Well,
right,
not
but
like
thank
that to
you.
touch my hand. That would hurt
All
a
right,
lot.
we tried, guys. Okay, now I'm going to preheat the jump ring. And what's important here is that you do even heat. If one side of that seam gets hotter than the other, the solder will jump to the hotter side. So if I get this hot enough, and then my solder should transfer right on there, and it flowed right in. That's what you're looking for. Turn off your torch. Get your next jump ring. Don't touch them with your hand. The rings will be hot. Okay, seam is up. away from the tweezers. Flux. And I should have my glasses on. This is like a little blurry. Okay, take a piece of solder, move it over. Way. I want to make sure that my solder pick is cool. Quench it, cool it off. I don't like that striker. I have a torch holder on my bench, so I don't have to shut my torch off every time. I can hang it while I'm adjusting jump rings. So I don't have to keep relighting it. Whoop, didn't get it. Didn't get it again. Alright. Only do so many times and then I'll get another piece. I'm gonna have this torch too high. It's not hot. There we go. Yeah, if you have to reheat that piece of solder more than 2 or 3 times, forget it, get another piece. There it goes. Then you go to the next one, and so on and so on and so on. So it takes a little practice, so if you want, now that one's really bad. If you want to practice, I have some brass wire and some copper wire here in the studio that you can use, you know, just make a dozen jump rings and practice soldering them closed before you start your chain. Or you can just go right into your chain. Whatever you decide is fine. Right in. Love it when it works. And then when you're done soldering, off to the pickle. Now, if the rings below the one that you're soldering start to get dirty, start to get oxides on them, you'll want to stop and pickle. If they're unsoldered and they start getting dirty, you may as well stop and pickle because the dirt will interfere with your solder flow. So this would go off to the pickle. When the chain's totally assembled, I figure out what kind of clasp I want to use, actually before.
Can you put it in water?
You can, yep. You can go quench, although they probably cool off really fast. And then off to the pickle. But figure out what kind of clasp you want to use too while you're thinking about your chain design. If you want to make a toggle, you'll need to buy some wire to make the toggle.
Can we like use?
See me about that.
Can we use any kind of clasp, or is there like a few
You
specific
can
ones
use prefab clasps, and depending on what it is you want to make, for a bracelet, I like what are called lobster claws. They're more secure than anything, and they look nicer. For necklaces, you can use a spring ring, or you can make an S-hook. That should be fine for a neck chain. If you're working with silver, make sure that if you're buying a clasp, make sure the clasp you buy is sterling silver. Sometimes they're silver plated, and if you get heat on something that's silver plated, the plating will burn off. So remind me, I'll pull out one of the catalogs and show you the different clasps. All right, chain making is fun. You might love it. Some people find it very soothing. So I would say if you have a place to work at home, you could anneal your wire here and then wrap your jump rings and saw them apart at home, and because the soldering of the jump rings is a little time consuming. Save your soldering time for in here. Okay, any questions? Okay. You have the rest of the class time to work. Show me drawings if you have drawings.